Peace and blessings. Namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today, and I have a very special guest and a very special program that's going on. In case you guys haven't even realized that, there's a giant movement that is going on in TikTok during this time. We want to discuss the case of Malaki Z, his innocence, the things that he have done for our community, how he is an ascended master, a master teacher of this day and age. And since there is seems to be a feeling of revival at this time, I thought that it was important for me to bring on a guest, the people that worked closely with him, that knew him very well. Okay. And if you don't know who Malaki Z is, oh, he was very, very influential. A lot of the Black community started speaking to him and looking up to him as a Black Messiah during this time, because he came with a lot of information that was hidden. He was also one of the elders that infiltrated every spiritual system, understood the history, etymology behind things, and actually built a new nation out in Atlanta. Well, not in Atlanta, in Georgia. Okay, a nice big compound. He brought people together. I want to show you who he is and what he looks like. And then we're going to start really discussing what he came here to do, the people that work closely with him, the message that went out to humanity, and the fight that is currently going on at this time. So give me a second as I try to present this information for you. Okay. Share screen. All right. If you have not ever know who Malaki Z was, okay, this, as you can see, excuse me, of course, this streaming service is kind of slow. We've been having so many glitches, it's driving me nuts. Okay, this is Master Teacher Malaki Z. Okay, he has all of the information. He came bringing us information about star seeds, our roots, our heritage, things of that nature. This is what he built. Do you see the nation that's behind him? This is a strong and powerful being, okay, that infiltrated this earth during this time. It's not too many people that actually built something. We had a lot of leaders that talked, okay, but this leader actually built a nation, okay, out in Georgia. As you can see him here, you know, he infiltrated the Masons. He infiltrated Kemet. He infiltrated all of the ancient sciences, the mysteries, all over the world. This is why I have the utmost respect for this man, not because I'm familiar with this case, but because he took it and ran with it. Okay, he came here with a mission, and despite what anybody had said about him, he went forward to that mission. And this is about nation building. Look at this. Okay, do you see these brothers in white? You know, these brothers in white could have been representing I'm sorry, Israel, or the Hebrews during this time. You also see him in like this here, like Catholicism. You see him as a Mason. This is the compound that he had made. You see how huge it is? Look at the structure. How was he able to do this as one man? Okay, you must ask yourself this. How was he able to do all of these things during that time? Do we see what we have here? Okay, this is the entrance to the compound. This where a lot of Black people gathered together to listen to this man, to sit at his feet, to get this type of knowledge that wasn't already written. Okay, we regurgitate things that was passed down to us, but what do we do when you have a being that comes here, infiltrates it, and does it the right way, or tries to? Okay, we have this here. As you can see, the entrance to the compound, he did it like he rebuilt Egypt. Do you understand how important this was? Now, we're trying to figure out how this man goes from this to this. Okay, a lot of things are up in the air right now concerning whether or not he was innocent, concerning whether or not he was guilty. Was this another archetype of the Black man's plight? You know, when they were saying how Yeshua was hung from a tree, you know, the being crucified, things of that nature. This is what we don't know. We don't have the insight of the cases here, but what we do have is people that work closely with this man and can vouch for his character, who I'm going to bring in a short moment. But let me read you some things, okay? We're going to go here. Now, if you're not familiar, Dwight D. York, Malaki Z. York was born Dwight D. York, and June. He was born June 26, 1945. They have labeled him, now pay attention because I'm reading this off of Wikipedia, as an American criminal, black supremacist, pedophile, convicted child molester, musician, and writer, best known as the founding leader of several black Muslim groups in New York, most notably the Nuwabian Nation. He's noted as a black supremacist now, and new religious movement that existed in some form since 1960s. York began founding several black Muslim groups in the 1960s and 1967. He was preaching to the Ansaru Allah, or the African Americans, in Brooklyn, New York, during the period of the Black Power movement. He founded numerous religious movements under various names between 1960 and 1980s. These were at first based on pseudo-Islamic themes and Judaism. Later, he developed a theme derived from ancient Egypt, mixing ideas taken from Black nationalism, cryptozoology, Christianity, UFO religions, New Age, and popular conspiracy theories. He last called his group the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors, Nuwabian Nations, or Nuwabians. Around 1990, York and the Nuwabian Nation relocated to rural Putnam County, Georgia, where they built a large complex that I just showed you. They came under scrutiny in the early 1990s after they built Tamaray, an Egyptian-themed compound for about 100 of his followers in Putnam County. Before York's trial, the community had been joined directly and in the area by hundreds of other followers from out of state, while alienating Black and white local residents. The community was intensely investigated after numerous reports that York had molested numerous children of his followers. Okay, so what I have today, StreamYard has stopped sharing. I'm trying to get back. Sorry. Okay, I'm trying to get back to StreamYard. There we go. What I have today is a special guest that worked very closely with this master teacher, ascended masters, what I like to call them. Okay, and he wants to come and we're going to talk to him about his journey. We're going to talk to him about, his relationship and how he feels concerning Malaki Z. York and this new movement for his release. Okay, so I want to welcome, without further ado, Hotep Talah, who I know as the Godfather and who calls himself as the spiritual warrior. How are you, and welcome, Elder?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for presenting this broadcast, this episode, this message. Yes.
It's necessary because, as I
Yes.
stated earlier, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it now. Like, people are really fighting for this man's release. They're really going back and they're investigating these cases. They're trying to figure out, if he was falsely accused, because we all know when we have people that come out, and they do a movement and they stand for something, that they become targeted, right? So I want to ask you about your journey with Mr. York and how he influenced you, and what do you believe his true message was?
Okay. Good. Good question. As you was introducing this, I reflected over my time when I came in 1993. I came in. I mean, yeah, 1993. That's when I came in. So he was just making his move to uh, Putnam to Atlanta. He was just making his move to Atlanta. However, um, prior to that, a friend of mine named named Kevin Bow, who we called Malik, was bringing me information. Him and I went to high school together, and he was bringing me information of the Ansar Allah community when he was teaching Nubian Islamic Nubian Islamic information. And so I looked at the video that he brought me, and I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. I thought it was a cult. I thought it was a cult because
Okay,
they were making money. They were advertising
right,
products. So, and then the teachings was different than what I was accustomed to because I was brought up as a Baptist. My mother made
right,
sure that we was in church. My father was about science. He used to say it's about science. My mother was like, you getting up, you going to church, and when you get old, you can make your own decisions. But for now, you going to church. So I always knew, based on my experience in Christianity, that if there was a Jesus, I would be there in the end. I knew that. I knew I couldn't be the type of Christian that the church wanted me to be, but I knew that I had a good heart. I knew that. It was no doubt in my mind. I said, if this is real, I'm gonna be there. I didn't know how, because I was doing everything everybody else was doing. I was partying, getting high. I did cocaine. I chased women. I didn't even have to chase women. They was coming. So I didn't have a problem with, I was in the party scene. I was living life as a young man. End up going into I was in the Navy prior to that, so I traveled the world. I did a lot of things in a very short period of time. So I was in my home when my man was giving me that information. I was working on my own thing. I ran for fire commissioner. I was a county committee person. I was a youth organizer. I was doing a lot of things in my community. I had got married after I got out of the military, and I saw a need. I was working for the township. Ultimately, I ended up working for the township, and I was in the public works department, and I became a union official. I was fighting on behalf of those who couldn't fight for themselves. I had about 10,000 people I represented. And so, now that's not true. I was a union rep for Winslow Township. So I had about 250 people that I represented and 10,000 people over in the overall union. I ran for vice president, but I lost. Off the gate, I ran for vice president. I was always a fighter, right? So, and my first case was
Right.
about the sanitation workers, something like Martin Luther King fighting for the sanitation workers, that type of thing. So anyway,
Right.
one day Malik brought a tape home, a tape called The Fallen Angels. And when he hit the door, when he came in my house, I had my own house, pool, wife, son. I was doing my thing. And he gave me that, and he came to the house, and I said, Assalamu alaikum, because that's what I knew him. They were in the Islam stage, and that's all I knew. So Assalamu alaikum, and I said, what's up? He said, you are Allah. That's what he said to me. I'm like, what do you mean I'm Allah? And so he said, I want you to listen to this tape. And see, prior to that, my father was very negative towards me. And me and my father got a great relationship right now, although he's sick. And I got to take care of him right now. I'm in that stage, take care of my father. But he was very abusive to me. And so he wasn't encouraging at all. So, but I always knew I had great ability. So when he said I was Allah, that caught my attention. Because Islam, prior to that, he wasn't talking that. They was worshiping Allah. They were worshiping Allah. They wasn't saying they was Allah. And so
Right.
I was like, okay. He said, I want you to come over my house and listen to this tape. So we listened to the tape, and that tape, I was done after that tape. And what really stuck out in that tape, it was about extraterrestrial information too. But what really stuck out in that tape, he was talking about the fallen angel, how we felt, how in Genesis chapter 6, the sons of God came down. First of all, he went to Revelation, how they was kicked. It was a war in heaven. He was kicked out of, the devil was kicked out with 1/3 of the angels, and they were cast into the earth. And then you pick it up in Genesis where they say these sons of God went into the daughters of men and had children.
Right.
So they was having
Right.
sex with women that were evolving on this planet, these sons of God. Now, prior to that, I only heard that Jesus was the only son of God. So Malachi
Right.
was saying, he was pointing out things I had never seen that was right in my face, in our
Right.
face. So when it said the sons of God went into the doors of men and had these children that became mighty men, and then he was like, well, they had children and they had children, and here we are in 1993. Got all them genes in us, because it was two sets of sons of God that they speak about in Genesis chapter 6. The agreeable Tob and Ra. The disagreeable was cast out, and then the other set of sons came down. They said they went into the daughters. The first set took all the women that they chose, it said they took it. They just took it. You know what that means. They was just snatching women. Anyone that they chose, they was just doing it. Nowadays, they call that rape. So, then there was another set of sons of God that came down, and they said they saw that they were fair, and they went into them. So they were the agreeable set. So we had both agreeable and disagreeable in our DNA. And so and then he said, look at yourself. He said, you can tell by the negative things that you do. Because I knew I was good. But when he said the children make you some cookies and all you can do is complain about the mess they made in the kitchen, that got my attention. Because it
Okay.
was the little thing. I wasn't doing nothing really evil, but I was doing things like I might give my child some milk in the living room. He spilled the milk. Now I smack him on the butt for spilling the milk. And I realized this is
Right.
a child. Why would I smack her? I gave him the milk in the living room. That's what the child gonna
Right.
do. He gonna make a mess. So when I started seeing the little things in me that needed, he said, now you see you got to work to get your way back up. That caught my attention because prior to that, I was taught that if you do bad, you're gonna go to hell, you get burnt up, same thing everybody else was taught. And that just wasn't registering to me. But to want to improve myself because I'm of this superior race of beings, and I had fell because my ancestors had regressed and fell, and I had to make that correction for them and myself and my future, my son and his children. I took that responsibility. Okay, I got to find out where this information is coming from. So I couldn't sleep no more at night. My wife Vanda, I call her name. She's a dime. She was dying. I had my wife, my
Right.
son, big house.
Right.
I was a firefighter. I was doing all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't like like a lot of people in the tab went in the tab because they was running from trouble, running from the law, all kinds of different reasons. But for me, I was chilling. I have, what I'm saying. So I couldn't sleep. I told my wife I gotta go to Georgia. I gotta see where this source of information coming from. She was like, it could be a cult. She was scared.
Right.
I was like, I can't. If you got another,
Right.
after I explained to her the information that I heard and how I was interpreting it, I said, if you got a better explanation, then I'll listen to you. She couldn't come up with nothing better than that.
Right.
So I was like, well, I was growing up where you the man of the house. You got to lead the family. And so I'm like, well, we gonna go. She said she wasn't. I was like, well, you could stay right here. We can, I gotta go. I got to go. I'm the man. I think you should trust my decision, but I respect you as a woman, and you make your own decision. So what happened was I sold the house, gave her half the money. I think we got 100 grand at that time. Gave her half the money. I took half. She went and did. She took my son. Was no argument because she knew that this was out of, out of love, because I was already a fighter. I was already a warrior. So this spiritual warrior is right on time. I was already fighting on behalf of the underprivileged before I met Malaki. So I saw a bigger organization fighting on behalf and also trying to clean ourselves up. And to become even greater, I had to go. So my wife stayed, or ended up going to North Carolina, and I went to Georgia. When I got to Georgia, to make a longer story even shorter,
Okay.
the first,
Hold
the
up.
you got a question?
Hold up. Hold one
Yes.
second. Gotta go back like 20 seconds.
All right.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear
Go
you.
back about 20 seconds. There was a lag and you froze. No. So say it again. The last thing that came across very clear was y'all had split the money up, and then you
Okay.
went through and then you started lagging. It was glitching. So you have to start from there again. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I sold the house. I gave her half the money. Her and my son went to end up eventually going to North Carolina because we was in New Jersey. She went to North Carolina. I went to Georgia.
Okay.
Right. So I
Okay.
made sure she was straight. It was the hardest thing that I could ever do was leave my wife and my son. It was the same story of Abraham having to sacrifice his son Isaac. It's the exact same story.
Okay.
It's the same story as God sacrificing his only begotten son. That was my only son. And I loved my family.
Okay.
So, and I was raised not, you provide for your family. But this information that took me
Right.
over because it wasn't based, and he also said, don't believe anything I say, which I've never heard a man say, any teacher, any preacher say, don't believe a word I say, check it out. That got my attention too.
Right.
Don't believe nothing I say, do your homework. So he was supporting education, do your homework, research, study. Show thyself approved, as it said in the Bible. Study and show thyself approved. I could relate to that because it wasn't based on
Right.
believing anything. Don't believe nothing. He was like, don't even believe me. He stressed that for the 30 years I was with him. He's been saying, don't believe a word I say. Don't believe nothing. No, I say, not even me. Go do your homework. So with that helped push me to Georgia. And I didn't even get the sign out on my house. I mean, the whole universe supported that move. I got the asking price. It was a friend of mine who bought it, and I got out of there. I got to Georgia. So I get to Georgia, and to make that long story shorter, the first thing I get tagged with that I'm the assassin coming to kill him. I
Whoa.
got tagged
What?
with a yes. I don't think you knew that one. I don't think I told you that story.
No.
I don't usually tell my story. Hey, most everybody I tell my story today like you got to come out with a book because I also was
Yeah.
charged with child molestation. I was also charged. I wasn't charged with it. That was they put that on my record, and that comes down the line after Malachi got charged. So, but back to when I get
Mm.
to Georgia. When I get to Georgia, they say that the people in the tabernacle said that I was here to kill him. And I tell you how that came about. I'm the first day that I meet Malachi on at his land in Eatonton, Georgia. And at that time it was nothing but grass and trees. Wasn't no nothing, right? So um I'm there, I
Right.
get there, they
Right.
sitting on chairs out in the field. So I'm sitting down in the lotus position at his feet, just listening to him teach. And at that particular time, he was talking about anybody coming to assassinate him. He was the last one coming. So if y'all let somebody come and assassinate me, ain't nobody coming after me. It's it. So I wasn't used to sitting in that position, that lotus position at that time. I didn't know nothing about real spirituality, although now I know I was very spiritual then, but I didn't really have an overstanding. I wasn't conscious of my spirituality. I couldn't communicate it properly. But I was uncomfortable in that position. So, and it was about, I would say 75 people there. So I got up to go to the back. But before I got up to go to the back,
Okay.
he makes a gesture with his hands like this. He does something like this after he said, if y'all let somebody come kill me, I'm the last one, that type of thing. And he makes a gesture at that very moment. I get up and go to the back. So everybody's like, ooh, that type of thing. They didn't say it loud, but I later found out what it was. So they're like, it must be him. It must be, and I'm new. I'm new. I just get to Georgia. I got money, so I've already spent a lot of money. I got a black truck. I got a movie company called Jihad Communications. The dude that turned me on to the information, he was producing. He had got a letter from Malachi saying, set yourself up, and we're going to use you in the future. And he was into movie making. He wanted to take the information and put it into movies. So me and him linked up, and I became co-producer of Jihad Communication. Now, the word jihad means holy
Okay.
war. That's Islam. That's Islam. So
Right.
Islam was going out. Malachi was making a transition from Islam into right knowledge. Now, Islam is religion, and Malachi would jump from school to school, as you said on your opening, that all those different schools of study was for us to learn. We had to live Islam. We had to live Judaism. We had to live Egyptology so that we would be the best teachers of it. And he spoke 19 different languages. And he went to
Right.
Cairo, Egypt, and got his degree. I mean, this dude, I watched it. He was able to write with both hands at the same time on the chalkboard. I mean, he would teach for like 10, 12, 14 hours straight. He would shut your brain down. That's how gifted this dude was. At a certain point, I couldn't even listen to him no more. My brain was overloading. I had to shut it down. Like I can't take no more information. That's what really pushed me deeper inside myself to get to the level I am spiritually now. I was like, I'm sick of this information. I can't take no more. So anyway, when I
Wow.
get home that day, when I got home that day, I get a phone call from the office of his organization, and they say you can't come back until we find out who you are. So I didn't know
Okay.
what was happening. I'm like, what? And I'm in awe of this dude. By this time, this dude, I'm so impressed. I'm thinking this is the Messiah. This got to be the Messiah. It has to be him. That you know what I'm saying. So, and they're telling me I can't go back, and so um, I've later find out. Somebody told me that they accused me of trying to kill him, and that's why they had to investigate me. I had a company called Jihad Communication. I shouldn't have had the company. He's still talking Islam. He must be with those Muslims that's trying to kill Pop, because there was a lot of people trying to kill Pop during that time, or Malachi during that time. We call him Pop or Baba. Those of us who know him like that, and
Uh-huh.
and they was like, well, he should already knew that we was in the right knowledge. We ain't using terms like that, but I didn't know. I'm new. I'm young. So I'm young in this. So I had to sit amongst these young elders, I would say, people that's been in there longer than me, but wasn't as old as I, because I'm 59, right? I'll be 60
Right.
August 1st, right? So everybody that I got hooked up with when I got there was like, at that time maybe 30 or something, and they like 18, 19 years old, and they were the young disciples. They was running stuff, so I had to sit underneath them. I had wisdom, but I didn't have the experience that they had, so I had to sit and learn
Right.
and take orders, but still maintain, you know, enough independence that I wasn't letting nobody just use me. Because I was a rebel, even amongst the Nuwabians. I'm still a rebel. A lot of Nuwabians won't even like this broadcast because I was a rebel. I was a straight rebel. I am a spiritual. I don't take no shit. I don't take no shit from nobody. I wouldn't have took no shit. I don't take no shit from Malachi. I don't take no shit from Malachi. I don't take no shit. Now, Malachi taught me, he helped encourage that about me. Like he's a warrior. You talking about the Godfather, that nigga, and he used to say, call me, I'm your nigga. He used to say that. Hey, he used to make us say, yo, man, just because people was intimidated, they was worshiping him. He didn't want to be worshiped. He hated that. He
Right.
hated when people was running up to him, trying to touch his garment like he was some Messiah. He used to say, I'm not your Messiah. He said, y'all not going to crucify me. Y'all ain't going to do to me what y'all did to him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he would say, you know, he jumped in my ass several times. He told
Right.
me one time, this is my house, my money, you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. That's exactly how he said it. This is my house, this is my money, you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. And he
Wow.
said that to me because my ego got out of check.
Right.
My ego got out of check, and I needed that check, but that's a
Right.
whole nother story.
Okay. 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 You kind of flashed out there. I'm waiting for you to come back. We can't see you
Can
anymore,
you hear?
Hotep. I
How about
can
now?
hear you. Yes, I can.
Uh,
Yep. There you
all
go.
right.
There you go.
All right.
So, so basically, what you're telling me was like this was a real master teacher, but he was still, even though he had all of this knowledge and information that was either being downloaded to him or that he was discovering on his own, he still had a certain level of humility where he knew his place and he was encouraging
He was the
everybody to discover the God in them, right?
That's right. He was the most humble. There were times when he came up to me, and because I used to do entertainment for the family, I did the first Nuwapu ball at the CNN building, 5,000 people. I'm putting on the fashion show, and whoever listens and don't believe it, go get it's on record. Get the tape. You'll see produced by Dr. Leon Moss. Go get the tape. I'm on record, and I heard that Pop didn't put people on record like that. You know, he wasn't giving people credit like that. But yeah, that was my personal savior as well. So everybody had their relationship with him, but I had a relationship with him. I knew the man too. A lot of people knew the teacher. They didn't know the man. They didn't know him. And
Right.
he was raw. He was real. He was like, if you came up with real OGs like I did, my dad, my grandfather, my uncles, and all them, he was just like them, just smarter. He had more information, but this nigga was raw, and he did not play, and he didn't want to be worshipped. He did not want to be worshipped. So that day, so I eventually get back to Tamaray because they research on me, find out that I was in the Navy. I got a clean record. You can trace me out, So, and I think Baba always knew it, but he wanted to introduce me to the family because I came down there in awe of the whole thing. I was like wide open. I was like a baby. Like I was so impressed that I was vulnerable to black devils that was amongst us and still amongst us. We got black devils in our organization, just like every other organization got black devils. So, and them black devils don't want to hear me have this type of show. I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you, they don't want me. They definitely don't want me speaking. So, but the real G's do, because they've experienced the same thing I have. I'm not alone. It's real G's out here. You had Enoch on, and he's a real G. Some people are just more like Enoch when he come to me, and I think we just connected this year. A lot of people, they didn't know Pop personally, so they didn't get the rawness of him. So when they send somebody to me, like one of the cats
Right.
that's just coming in or never met him, that's my job, is to show them that part. Because they don't have no balance. They just got information. They just teaching, but they ain't real. They don't know the realness of Baba. And Baba is real. He's a real nigga. I'm telling you. Right?
Mm,
So he get his hair braided. He sit between, get his hair braided just like you get your hair braided. You know what I'm saying? So and Baba like to have fun. He talk shit. But so but Baba is about discipline. Like I'm extremely disciplined. I ain't had sex in 8 years. That's how disciplined I am. You know what I mean? People don't even believe it. People think I'm not what you think I am. I've transcended just man. I'm God man. I'm a
right,
spiritual warrior. Really. That's exactly why. So I don't need the things that humans need. I don't need the same things because I've transcended it. I did at one time. I didn't have this level of discipline, but
right,
I got to a point by way of his teachings and by way of other masters that are here, because there's other masters too. I'm talking about elder masters that
right.
aided
Mm-hmm.
to my evolution. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not one dimensional like
Mm,
some Sabians or Nuwabians. They one dimensional. They won't read nothing else but pop book. No, I'm reading everything. I want to
right,
know. I'm reading
right,
whatever I want to read. I'm God. I do what the hell I want to do. That's how. That's how we think, right? When you real about it, you do what you want. Don't tell me I'm God. Then tell me I got to be somewhere at a certain time, or I can't read somebody else's material. If I'm God, I'm God. I do what I want to do, and I hold myself accountable for what I do. You know
right.
what I'm saying? Good or bad, I'm gonna take responsibility for it. I'm not gonna blame Pop when things don't
And
go
you have
right. Oh,
written.
and I have written. I got two. I got three of them actually out right now.
Yeah,
Right. So, and
right,
they all
right.
about
I remember your book,
spirituality.
so he writes too. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So and they
Absolutely.
all about
So,
spirituality. And I've been abducted. I've been abducted. All that. So I got direct experience with alien abduction. So and they weren't torturing me. So when we talk
right.
about that, so I'm gonna give the floor to you in case you have any questions about what we've already shared.
No, we want to dive a little bit into that because that alien agenda. Here's
Yes.
some of the things that I had a little concern about when it came down to uh, some of the groupings and the teachings. I personally,
Okay.
okay, have followed like a lot of different leaders, okay, who knew how to summon the Anunnaki, or you make contacts with our ancient bloodlines and things of that nature. But I started to notice that there was a trend, and that trend
Okay.
was a lot of them that would get into that high level of spirituality, some kind of way came back with a little bit of perversion. Okay, now
Okay.
I want to just mention some names. I will talk about them, but like
Okay.
the Credo Mutwa, for instance. Okay, I followed him. He comes
Okay.
out, he talks about the history of the reptilians in Africa and things of that nature. He goes and he says he gets abducted. Then he comes back and says, oh my God, he comes back and now he's a homosexual. And I have seen like this
Right.
pattern going on and on. I'm trying to figure
Okay.
out, number one, what's happening here? And is this like some
Okay.
elaborate scheme? So tell
All
me
right.
what your experience is with
Mm-hmm.
extraterrestrials and our ancestors and what you've been taught.
Okay. All right. So my experience was I was at home. I was at home. I was laying down. Next thing I know, I was on some type of bed or table or something. I don't know. I couldn't see, but I know I was on my back, and I know there were beings around me. I couldn't see these beings. I couldn't open my eyes, but their presence was very real. They were all around me, and they touched me. They grabbed my head. It felt like they were spinning me around. They spent me like to the side, like they were examining me. And so at my first emotion was fear. I was extremely afraid because I didn't know what was happening. But so my in that state, I said I belong to Yanun. That's what I said. I said I belong. And in my mind, when you utter the word Yanun, who I know as Olight, it means Olight, but it is Malachi or Melchizedek or the galactic name of that being spirit, Malachi's spirit. Because Malachi had a spirit. It was not just the man, like you looking at me, you see just the man, but there's an entity inside of me that is different than what you perceive me to be.
Right.
So that's the same with all of us. But in Malachi, that he said he had 19 different spirits coming through him. I can't verify that other than the fact that all those different schools of thought, they were different. And when I met certain other beings through him or by way of his body, I could tell that there was a difference about him. It was clear. Like El Kidder, the green one, was different than Imam Isa or Dr. York. They were just different personalities. You could tell. So with me, I got two different. He gave me two names. One Hotep Talah Amun, and one is Lukman, Naya Lukman El. And Lukman don't take no shit. That's the raw. That's some raw. That's another. That's a whole nother nigga right there, right? And then people who know me on the street, they call me Slim. I used to carry two guns on both sides, gangster hat. I was producing a movie for Malaki. I was walking the streets of Atlanta, straight gangster, and was real about that shit. Trust me. We had three other brothers that was doing it. We called ourselves the Tribe of Dr. York, because Dr. York was that's Malaki, but that's a whole nother personality. That's the entertainer. So we in the entertainment business. I'm in the entertainment business even to this day. So anyway, where was I going? Extraterrestrial. So when they after I said I belong to Yanun and they didn't stop, I felt, oh, they must be family, because they ain't leave me alone. They still messing with me, right? So I still did. I stayed there for I don't know how long. It feel like it was seconds, but after a minute, the fear came back, and I said that's enough, and they were gone. When I said that's enough, they were gone. And then I crawled off of whatever I was on and went into a different room. I was crawling. I felt violated because I had no power over my own body. I had no power. I was detained. I was detained and I couldn't do nothing. So I never felt that vulnerable before. So I'm like a baby. I'm crawling into this room and I saw a black man with an afro. That's when I was able to see. I saw a black man with an afro and a gold tooth in his mouth. And I crawled to him. He reached out to me. I reached up to him and he pulled me to him. Next thing I know, I was back in my bed. And it was the experience is so real. It's just yeah. It's just it's like happening a few minutes ago. That's how real that was for me. And that was the first time I had two other experiences since then. A direct contact. I'm talking about direct contact. You know what they call it, close encounters. And then I've had dreams, and I know the difference between dreams and close encounters, because I had dreams of extraterrestrials. I've had those, and they feel real. They feel real. But when I come out of them, I'm like, oh, that was a serious dream. The other shit. Now,
Hello?
as far as anybody else's experience, I'm not going to say that they ain't have that experience, because I have the right to say my shit, and we back into belief, because I'm not asking y'all to believe me, because I don't believe shit. I got to have my own experience. And Baba Pop Malaki said the same thing. He said, if you ain't seen a ship or you ain't had a close encounter, you don't believe it. You don't got to believe it. You know what I mean? Because you ain't had the experience. But there's enough information out there for you to put the information together to say there's a 99.9 probability that there are some other beings on this planet. In fact, they're having a hearing. The United States Congress is having a hearing Wednesday on revealing that information, to this day. So all of it is coming out. Baba was the first one.
He's gone. Hotep.
Malaki was the first. No, people.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you. People are trying to call me, so it'll go out when they try to call. So Malaki was the first one of us. Malaki was the first one of us with dark skin, woolly hair to come teach us specifically that level of information.
Okay.
I don't know no one before him, me personally, with dark skin, 9 ether hair, woolly hair, or nappy hair that came specifically for us and brought us nothing but facts. I don't know nobody else who's done that. So at that level. So so that was the guy who's talking. I know there's a group of Nuwabians who say they Nuwabians, but they homosexual. They say they from the hermaphrodite genealogy. You know what I mean? So I know that we're talking species. We're not talking just humans, black, white, Chinese. Mexican. No, we're talking species throughout the boundless universe. So everything is possible. So when you see all these homosexuals or whatever you want to call them, LGBT, man, you don't know what their genetics are. Now, I do know that some people, they got turned out because they found themselves in an orgy maybe, and next thing you know, they got hit and they end up liking it. That could be a genetic trait too. I don't know. So I respect all species in the boundless universe because you got beings who are not you got reptilians, grays, you got Andromeda's beings, you got all kind of plasma, you got all kinds of species here. So you get caught up on that sexual preference, you get lost. You become a hater, you become a racist. You know what I'm saying? You'll get lost in
Yeah.
that. And that's
Yeah.
if you want to become a
Right.
supreme being, then you got to join the supreme order of the omniverse. And if you come up here, then you're
Right.
dealing with everything. Because them beings that came to see me the
Right.
second time, they damn sure wasn't human. The ones that came to see me, and I had girlfriends when I was in their bedroom, and they looking at me crazy. I'm like, what's wrong with you? They like, I saw something. Well, what you see? I saw a reptilian looking at me. They looking at me saying they saw me shapeshift. I don't have a problem with the
Wow.
reptilian gene in me. I felt that before. I was with another sister and I was sitting at the table with her and I felt my face morphing into one of the draconians. I felt it. I
Wow.
know what's happening. I felt it. I felt the shit. So, but I'm not afraid of it because we're mixed in with so many different genes because they were species. This planet was a resort and people are screwing. They having sex. You're not the only one having sex. Everything is having sex. And you got beings having sex with, they kidnapping or abducting human girls and they putting their DNA in them. And these beings is all, you got all that shit happening. So now you looking at yourself in the mirror thinking you cute and all this, but shit, you might be. But there's some reptilian in you. You can believe that shit. There's some grays in you. All you got to do is look at the first part of the 16 weeks of the child morphing inside the mother's womb. You see the gray, you see the extra, you see the big eyes, the big head, all that shit is there. It's right there. So, people who denying the part of themselves because they don't want to see that because of religion saying that the serpent was the devil was a snake in the garden, and you don't want to see yourself as the devil. Well, you are the devil. So was I. And that's why you gotta work your way back out of this shit. You gotta get the devil out of you. Right? And don't be scared to admit the truth. It's the truth. Why are you afraid of the truth? People are afraid of the truth because of religion, because of what somebody told you. And then you say you're not religious, but you don't want to say, you want to make everybody believe that you're so righteous that you ain't got no devil in you. You got the devil in you, trust me. And you gotta and you need that devil in you to balance out. Because if somebody come into your house and try to hurt you, you gonna show them the devil real quick. But I know you fuck with me, I'm gonna show you the other side of Hotep Talah Amun. I'm gonna show you that real quick. All that's coming out.
So,
all of it.
All right, now, what do you think Malachi's overall mission was? What was he trying to do before
he was trying to wake us up. Okay. He's trying to wake us up to the truth of ourselves. He's trying to wake us up so that we can accept the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's all he wanted to do. He's only here to set the record straight, to give us an opportunity to perfect ourselves. But you got to embrace it all. You got to embrace it all, the truth. He don't want you worshiping him. No real deity want followers, because followers get you killed.
Right.
I don't want no followers. I want gods around me. I already know a follower gonna set you up. They're gonna set you up. That's out through history. You see that. Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Martin Luther King, Malachi York, Marcus Garvey, all of them was assassinated because of their followers. The white man can't do shit to you without followers. They got to get you with the followers. So
Okay.
now we're
All
able to
right.
determine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hmm.
Now, I was just going to ask this, because you
Yeah.
said in the beginning of this interview, you said you came across some brothers you didn't want to go because it automatically rang out to you as a cult. So I want to hit
Yes.
on that. How did you separate and come to the understanding that this was not a cult? What
Right.
gave you that understanding?
The, the, the truth. The truth and nothing but the truth. I was able to investigate the information and get beyond what I saw the business side, because the business side made me say, "Oh man, they trying to hustle me out of my money." But then I
Right.
realized you can't build what he building without no money. You got to have money to build, buy 476 acres, which we had, and built an Egyptian theme park, which we had and did. And I was there. I helped build that shit brick by brick. So, and we didn't go to the banks. We didn't go to the banks and say, give me a loan. We wasn't going to the Caucasian and say, help us. We said, leave us alone. We'll help ourselves. So I know it can be done. We don't need them. We don't need the system. We
Okay.
got to just come together. But we won't come
Okay.
together because we won't deal with the facts. And not dealing with the facts, we won't trust each other. Because we have to discover who's, like it said in the Bible, now the man has become like one of us. And notice the word us, good from evil. We don't know good from evil yet because we won't even accept the evil in ourselves, because we still looking for evil to be something
Right. The shadow word.
uh,
Got it.
like killing some innocent person or raping some kids. No, there's another level of evil. It's called ignorance. It's called worshiping a God that's not of
Right.
your own lineage. That shit is evil when you worshiping, empowering another group of people to keep you enslaved and keep us enslaved. That's some evil shit. You don't want to accept the truth. You want to stay in this system. You don't want to come and do your own thing. You want to stay in the system and beg the government to give you something, reparations and all that shit. We don't need their reparations. We don't need nothing from them. Give them back everything. Tell them to go. You are God. You have the ability to build dynasties, but you can't do it by yourself. And you can't be ego tripping. You want
Right.
to be the only one that everybody listen to. No, you got to surround yourself with
Right.
gods and get the best out of everybody. But you gotta
Right.
weed out the serpent, because the serpents are coming in there saying assalamu alaikum or rahu bat. They dressing like you, looking like you, marrying you. You even gave birth to some of them. They're your children. You gotta expose. You gotta identify that shit and separate that stuff. Damn the emotion. Damn the emotion is energy in motion. You have to gain control over your emotions and your ties and your
I agree.
attachments to these loves that you've been programmed to embrace, because it's bullshit. Most of relationships are bullshit. They're based in bullshit. It's all bullshit, man. I'm telling you, relationships are bullshit. The way we think of them is bullshit. They're not real. They some fairy tale shit. It's not real. So, but you have
Got
to
you.
master yourself. You have to master yourself. So when that thought, when the Nakash, Genesis chapter 3, verse 1, the Nakash, the whisper whispers in your mind, you be able to see that that's not you. That's not your authentic you. That's not you. That's not the pure you. That's that reptilian part of your brain that's telling you that you so great and you need a whole bunch of followers and all this other shit. You have a
Right.
reptilian brain. I don't know if y'all know that. That's simple science. You're part reptilian. So there's a part that's just all about survival, individualism. But quantum physics teaches us that we are one. We're not individuals, not in reality. That's based on your
Right.
ideal of yourself and your body and your sense of touch, taste, smell, hear, and feel. You get this feeling, this sensation of this independent individual entity, but in reality, you're connected to the entire omniverse. You're one, your
Right.
consciousness, your darkness before light, your nothing before something. Nothing still exists. No thing at all. But that something is just
Right.
not classified. It's not registered. They don't want to let you know that darkness is life.
Right.
They want you to go
Right.
toward the light.
Right.
The light is chaos. When the light is chaos. They got us trying to travel. You dying, you trying to get to the light. Or, you know, even in Freemasonry, everything is about the light. Well, what about the darkness that gave birth to the light? What do you think that is? That's the real you. But you don't want to be nothing. You want to be something. SUM, the sum of a thing, starting with H1. You got to go before H1. Hydrogen and helium. We go beyond that. Before that.
Mm.
We before that. But you gotta experience. It can't just
All right.
it can't just
Sounds
be
like y'all
it can't just be knowledge. It has to be direct experience. Therefore, you have to sit and you have to meditate properly so that you can feel your connection to everything and everybody. You have to sit. That's why I said in Christianity, be still and know that I am. You have to be still. But y'all don't want to be, because you're.
Uh-oh, he's gone. Godfather, where you at? Oh, you got another call?
Yeah, they trying to get in. They know I'm doing this show. But see, that's how the serpent works. He uses people to disturb the message. In the beginning was the word, it was a conversation. You're talking to God in the flesh. I know I'm the word made flesh. There's not going to be one Messiah. There's 144,000 Messiahs this time around. And 1 plus 4 plus 4, 1 plus 4 plus 4 is 9. So it might only be 9 of us. Because you're talking supreme mathematics. It doesn't have to be 144,000 in your idea of 144,000. You add them numbers, you get 9. And 9 is the highest number you can go. That's the most powerful number in the balance to acquire. But a lot of people need to know that, you know, it's not about one person coming and save you. Not even Malachi. Malachi knew if he didn't raise us up to be like him, they was going to get him. You think he was just going to let them? He knew they was coming. I was there and in front of him when he said they was coming to get him. He said, they're going to get me. That's why I'm trying to get inside of you. He kept saying, I'm trying to get inside of you because they're going to get me. He said, but what I won't do is let them get all of us here on Tamaray, where the pyramids were. He said, what I'm going to do, and he said this 20 years before they came, he said, I'm going to go out in town, let them get me out there when I know they're coming. And he knew they was coming because my uncle, Otis Moss, was the head of AEO. He was the supreme master of the martial arts order in AEO. And he was a detective on record. So he already knew, and other people knew that the day and time they was coming for Malachi. So Malachi left that morning, went out in town and let them get him out there so it wouldn't be a massacre on Tamaray. He loved us so much that he just refused to let them, because if we was there, because I used to say strap on Tamaray. So I was prepared to have a shootout with them motherfuckers if they came. And Baba knew that a lot of us was ready to go the long distance, but they came up there with body bags, man. They wanted us to retaliate. And if Pop was right there being treated like he was, it would have been a lot of dead bodies on Tamaray. There was not one death on Tamaray that day because Pop went out in town and let them get him out there. He knew they was coming. He had a class the night before calling Judases out in the family, saying, you Judas is sitting right here. Y'all been with me, y'all Judases. Y'all betrayed me.
So what exactly happened? Like, from your knowledge and a point of view, what do you think happened? Like, as far as these allegations are concerned, are you in line with that? Are you in the know? Can you help us understand what was happening?
Of course I'm in the know. I was there.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. It was some family members were screwing kids. You're talking about a being who got 476 acres, right? He's trying to provide a enclosed garden for us, a community, right? So we was only allowed by law at that time to have so many people on Tamaray. So at that time, so we were fighting to get more, so that everybody could get their plot of land, build their house or whatever trailer, whatever you want to put on there, and bring your family. So the whole thing was about everybody being able to live on our 400. That's 476 acres. That's enough to have. That's a whole new city. That's a city. So when we got down there, we came in cowboy clothes. Pop took us back to the cowboy day. That's why we was wearing the cowboy gear. And he did that, one, to teach us that we was the original cowboys, because they called us boys and we tended the cows. And he was showing us our place in history there. But he also did that because he knew white people was comfortable with cowboys.
Okay.
I used to go there. He told us to listen to country western music, get it in our spirit. When we in the car driving, turn on country western music. So when we got pulled over, they heard the country western music. They was like giddy. I was getting jobs. I was getting truck driving jobs because I wore the cowboy hat and the buckle and the boots. Man, they wanted to give me the keys to their business. They were so in awe of us, with the cowboy shit on. So when we built that first pyramid, those people freaked out because we opened up. The first thing we opened was a record store, and they saw the cowboy shit. They thought we was just black country western people. But then we built the pyramids, and that scared the shit out of them.
Okay.
Scared the shit out of them. And so, but there were people in the tab that, Papa was bringing people off the street in the tab. Anybody that wanted to come in, you fill out an application, and you want to move in, you come in. So you talking about, it was just those who wanted to come in. It wasn't really okay, you're an evil or good person. I need this shit built, and I need bodies. Right. So if you want to come in, come in. So he used to tell us all the time, everybody's not here for the same reason you are.
Right.
I'm sincere. That's why he made that move when I got tagged with the assassin, because he wanted me to realize that everybody that was there wasn't about truth and justice and perfecting themselves. Everybody was there for different reasons. They looking for a husband, a wife. They want to infiltrate. The FBI, CIA got people in there. All kinds of shit going on there. So then you got just straight people who've been abused when they were kids, maybe. And so now they angry and they in there and they trying to rape the kids that's there. So when you get to God, when God comes, he's not like Jesus. He said, I'm not sent to those who are well, I'm sent to those who are sick. That's in your Bible, in the Bible. So Bible gathered everybody. When God comes, everybody comes, good and evil. So Melchizedek, who he said he was at that time, the angel Michael, when he sits on the throne, you got the cherub and the seraphim right there. So now he's trying to manage this, but he's trying to wait for people like myself to grow into my fullness, because he's got to protect the sincere children, but because we still it's an evolution process. We're not just coming in and know everything and be powerful. We had to go through all the shit too. You know what I mean? It took me 30-something years to get to where I am right now. You know what I'm saying? So, and people would try to kill. If they knew who I would become, who I was going to become, they'd have killed me a long time ago. When they found out, they put me on child molester. They put me on the FBI list as a child molester. By the time they found out, I was already in the school system teaching as a substitute. They found out I was in there, and then when I transferred, I had to get another fingerprint. Next thing I know, I got 3 counts of child molestation on my record. I had to petition.
Where are the allegations coming from? Where are the allegations coming from?
No, it wasn't no allegation. Yeah, well, it came from the my federal profile. It came from the federal profile. When you get fingerprint, all your information, everything of your history comes on that file, on that report. So when I had to go and change counties from, I think I was in Newton, I went to Bibb County in Georgia, I had to get re-fingerprinted. When I was in the other schools, the children was coming to me, I was teaching them, like what we're here to do. So then when I transferred, I had to get another fingerprint, and when that record came back, it said 3 counts of child molestation. So fortunately, I had a brother that was in the police department. He pulled my file, and he was able to give me the record, because they told me to come down there and they would give me the record at the school. But I was like, nah, because they were just getting pop at that time. And I heard him. I was in the shower prior to that, and I heard the spirit say, would you get on this cross with me? And I was like, of course. And I didn't think no more about it. And then I get the phone call that I'm a child, you know, I got on my record for 3 counts of child molestation, I can't teach no more. And you could come get the record. So you know if you got that on your record, you can't go 100 yards in front of the school. You got to report everywhere you go, all kinds of shit. I took off. I went to Ohio. I left because I'm like, I'm not letting them get me. I took off, right? You're going to have to catch me, right? I knew what was going down. Right? I got afraid. Just like Jesus did when he actually got on the cross and he said, yeah, I want to get crucified, but damn, the thorns, you know what I mean,
right.
The nails.
Doesn't have to feel this bad, you know.
Yeah, they said Jesus cried blood. He said he cried blood. That nigga was so scared. That nigga was so scared.
So, all right. Yeah. So, in your opinion, is all of this an inside job?
Most definitely. His son, Jacob was a part of it. Now, I can't tell everything right here because I did some things that some people may call illegal, right?
Okay.
Right. But for me, you know, I'm like Robin Hood, take from the rich, give to the poor, that type of thing. But I'm not going into specifics. I'm not going to the specifics, right? So anyway, one of the brothers who eventually got involved, because there was 4 people who they called the original gangsters.
Okay.
Right. I just happened to be one of them, right?
Okay.
And then Malaki called my house and said they know everything. He ran the whole hustle down. He said, first thing he said was, this is a secure line. He ran everything down. And he says, they know everything. Call everybody and tell them to stop. They trying to get me for this. People was doing their own shit and they was blaming Malaki for it. Malaki was telling us to sell books only. That's all he told us to sell. He didn't want to sell on oils. He didn't want to sell on the bootleg movies. He was like, I wrote enough books. I made money off the books. Sell the books. But, you know, we lazy. Black people lazy. And we don't want slow money. We want fast money. Right. And we feel like God is here. We're trying to build a kingdom. Yo, let's get it. So I ran into some real niggas who taught me how to be a real nigga. Because I wasn't a real nigga until I ran into these real niggas, right? So anyway, we did what we did, and then one of the cats that came in later ended up going. He was on the trip with Jacob, Pop's son, when Jacob came with this hustle to get Pop locked up. He was mad because he blamed Pop for his mother's death. Like Pop had a lot of wives during Islam time, so he blamed Pop for his mother's death, and he blamed Pop for not producing Little Kim, because he was the producer for Little Kim at that time, and Six Mafia, yeah. So his son was the producer, and he's still producing to this day. So he wanted Pop to finance Little Kim, but Little Kim was on stage grabbing her crotch, and Pop was like, I can't support that. You know, we had a nightclub on Tamaray. We had a studio where people like Left Eye from TLC used to come and record. James Ingram, Music Soul Child. They would come and record. And so we was taking over the entertainment industry too, or trying to reform it, right? So, but when he came to Pop with that proposal, Pop had to turn him down. He took the shit personal. Then he went into the people who left the land, because they you know, there were children there and who grew up, and adults too who went in, because I know some who went in, moved on Tamaray. They became dissatisfied because they didn't want to work no more. They didn't want to discipline. They wanted to live the life of the street. And Jacob was telling them, showing them the life of the industry, the music industry. He was showing them the money. And he told them that they could get the money too if they follow him. And so some of the kids follow him, and then they came up with the plot. Let's create this story that Pop is doing this cult and he's raping kids and all this shit. And he went to the sheriff, who was trying to get us anyway, along with the governor. You know, I ain't gonna say the governor. I'm gonna say the sheriff and the rich people in Putnam County, and I know the president was involved at that time, which was George Bush. They wanted to stop Pop because they found out that Pop was the real deal. They wanted to stop him. So when his son went to him with that story, they conspired, like it says in the Bible. where all of those heads conspired to get that one, to get the chosen one. So that's what they did. They conspired. They came up with that, and they accused him. That's why I tell my story that I had it on my record, because people don't believe that the FBI, CIA will do shit like that, but they do, and they did it to me, and I feel blessed and honored that I was on that cross with them. You know, that they think of me enough. They think of me enough to do that to me. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't mad, but I ran into a sister who showed me how to petition the state, because I got in some trouble when I was in the Navy, and I had a record of I had something on my file. I got arrested, but I never went to court, and I never went to court. I never was fingerprinted, and it was a domestic thing. So on that domestic thing, they added 3 counts of child molestation. So when I petitioned the courts in California to produce evidence, they couldn't. And eventually they said, we apologize, we're sorry. They sent the letter. And Malaki told me to sue him, because I talked to him from jail, and he was like, you need to sue him. But I didn't do it. I didn't have enough money. I was still scared. I was still shook. Everything was just happening at that time. And I wasn't where I'm at now mentally. I wasn't where I'm at. Now I'm strong. Then I wasn't as strong as I thought I was. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And a lot of Nuwabians who now call themselves Sabaeans, they're not. They just think they are. They don't know who they are. They just know, I'm a Sabaean, I'm a Nuwabian, but they still see themselves as an individual person. We're beyond person, places, and things. That's how you test yourself, and I put that out to the whole audience. Tell me anything outside of a person, place, and thing. And most people won't be able to do it. Because even if you say spirit and soul, well, I say that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but in order to get to that level of consciousness, you have to sit long enough to observe. Because it's not really difficult. You just got to sit still. You got to sit still. It took me a while to be able to sit still and observe my mind, and observe my breathing, and observe my emotions, and realize that I'm not none of that. Because you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, you're not your body, you're not just that. Although you have those, but you're more than that. Matter of fact, you're all. But you got to experience that. You got to experience that directly in order for it to be real for you. So that sovereignty shit that everybody, I'm sovereign and all that shit, you ain't shit if you ain't experiencing this. You just got that shit on your mind. You just talking shit. You just talking shit. You don't know shit. Like my grandfather told me a long time ago, you don't know shit. You just think you do.
Spiritual warrior, y'all. He's going to be nice and raw with it. Oh, my God. I'm so tickled.
Some real shit.
All right. So the son gets upset or blames the father for the death of the mother and starts working with the CIA?
Yes. Yes.
Were there other involved that were working with the CIA as well?
Let's say the FBI and the GBI. Let's say FBI and GBI and the local sheriff and the local sheriff and police force. Because I don't know about the CIA. I do know about the FBI and the GBI. Okay, so what was your question again?
Were they working with just the son, or was the son able to just recruit people to all join up in a line to do these obligations?
Yes. Yeah, because he promised them money. One, he showed them movies like Jim Jones and The Heaven's Gate and said, this is how you was living. This is what he did to y'all. He brainwashed y'all. He showed them that. You talking about children who didn't know anything but nation building. They weren't touched by the world. So when you take them to Disney World and you take them to your castle and you got orgies going on, you got drugs and naked girls and boys running around, I've been caught up in lust before. I know how powerful that force is. And you don't have control over it. It's hard to get control over lust. It's very hard. I know, because I did it. So that's why I'm speaking from experience. I watched porno and I was like, I got to see this porno. Like, I got my dick in my head. Oh, no, let me not say that. I'm sorry. So, you know what I mean? Things that's happening.
Okay, go ahead.
Things is happening. Things is happening, and you have to gain control over it. And we got to have more conversations like this because it's real. And the sex force, the spirit sex force is real. It's
Right,
possessing people. You're
right.
possessed. If you
I
can't
hear
go
you.
a week, 2 weeks, a year, 6 months without sex, you're possessed. And these people,
Mm,
these beings, I ain't gonna call them people, these mental giants, these telepathic entities are very, very powerful. They put suggestions out there, and you get them. They come through the music, the television, just while you sitting there, with your kids, all kinds of stuff. And then you end up doing something you don't even know why you did it or how you did it, because these are forces. And then once you feel it, you know how gratifying a nut is. You know
Okay.
how gratifying that is.
I'm just gonna kill myself. I mean, that's what.
So that's the
Hey,
ultimate. That's the ultimate end result that you're trying to get to. So, but I
right,
have another theory on there where if you can use all of that to ground you in the moment, because a
right.
nut will take you into the moment. You think it's about the lust part, but it's really about focus your moment, being so into the moment, because all you got to do is sit there and experience. And that's the euphorium right there is what you're really embracing. But you got to learn how to get there without having to do that. That's where I'm
Got
really trying to get people to that nut without having to go through the sex part.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You can have it, because I know I'm trying to say, if you really tap into where this divine reality, there's nothing better than it. You'll give up the whole world for it. That's why I said you gotta be in the world but not of it. You'll give it
Right,
up. You don't have to give it up totally. You just have to control it.
right.
Because like Baba told us one time, he said, if I told you in order to be great, you have to give up sex. He said, you know what you'll say? And
What?
everybody said, what? He said, well, I don't want to be that great.
Right. Right. Right.
That's
That's the
what we'll
truth there.
say.
That's the
So,
truth there. It's a great thing. So, um, that's interesting. Hotep, are you still there?
hold on.
Okay.
Can y'all hold on a minute? There's something might be happening. My dad is in the hospital. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. So while he's doing that, yeah, I want to let y'all know that the reason why I pretty much brought him on this show is because I'm understanding, and if you missed the beginning of it, I explained that there is a huge movement right now. Right. If you're following the TikTok stream, the youth, like the new generation, are out here trying to fight for Malaki Z. Okay. The older generation kind of accepted his fate. But now it seems like it's this newness, right? And these kids, they're in their 20s. They're coming out and they're declaring that he's innocent. They're trying to get him, released. And I don't know so much about the case, okay? And I don't like to speak on things that I don't have a whole bunch of knowledge on. So it was, my call and my duty to try to get somebody on this platform that actually had that real life experience for that. We knew, and around a certain time that all things were going to be exposed, right? And we're into that season where the mask is off. Things are becoming exposed. We're watching it in politics. We're watching it in, NBA. We're watching it in the entertainment business where people are actually exposing things and walking away. They're coming out in their truth now. And it's like a real bold movement. So I couldn't wait to get him. I reached out to Hotep. I've known him for a very, very long time, along with my sister, Amunet. And he was, influential in my walk as well. Just having somebody to talk to about certain experiences. This was a brother that I could call when I was having these experiences. When I was, into that astral travel, when I was having these dreams, when I was being abducted, I could call this brother and I could talk openly, at this time. And he serves as the elder to me. Why? Because anybody over the age of 55, I consider eldership. Okay, so I'm going to always have that certain level of respect. Okay, he's back now. I'm going to bring him back in. Give me a second. Okay, so I got to remove you from here. All right, were you able to hear any of that I was talking
No,
about?
no, I got cut off. I had to check. My father's in the hospital. I had to make sure that nothing was really seriously wrong.
That's
So I didn't hear
interesting.
anything. I
Mine is
didn't.
in
I
the
didn't hear.
hospital now too. Yeah,
Okay,
mine is too.
I didn't hear
So,
anything after I told you I was getting off.
well, basically, I was just explaining to the audience that the reason why I reached out to you, to do this particular broadcast was because of the movement that was going on with the new generation. It was like, some of our generation just kind of let it go. It was like it
Yes,
is what it is. But what we're seeing and witnessing is this kind of revival. And these are kids that are in their 20s that are fighting for York that wasn't around during that time.
that's
So,
right.
I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Okay. He used to tell us that his real children, his real followers, are not there yet. That's what he used to say. He said, "My real
Wow.
followers are not here." The whole time I was with him, he was like, "They're not here yet." So these are the real, and it was always about preparing the children to have children that would fight the devil because they have no fear. He taught
Okay.
us that after 1970, all the children before 1970 still had the slavery gene in them, the fear
Okay.
gene. The
Right.
children after 1970 have no fear. They
Right.
straight warriors. They came here to fight the devil. They
Okay.
here too. That's why you see them, and they extraterrestrials. These children, like we are, but a lot of us denying that. So
Not
these
me.
children, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying, but yeah. So these children are having experiences that they know the only one that can really explain that is him. They
Okay.
know that we're connected to him. We're connected to him. He's like this is a genetic thing. And this is a star thing. This is a star seed. So you have other seeds here that's connected to other extraterrestrials.
Right.
Everybody on this planet comes from some extraterrestrial group, but everybody's not from the same extraterrestrial group. You have to
Right.
search your soul and make your connection with the ones that are sent for you. And
Right.
as it become more visible, you're gonna if you're not in tune, you're gonna be fooled by these devils who have uh who have um who have captured some of these ships and re-engineered the technology, and they're going to present a certain type of extraterrestrial to you, and you're going to probably follow them. So you really got to find those who know and line yourself up with that so that you won't be tricked by any extraterrestrial that presents itself. Because they can show you, they got the technology where they can put an image of an angel coming out of the sky. They're giving you a
Right.
white God or your black Jesus or your white Jesus
Right.
coming out of the sky with wings and tell you, oh, come follow me. And next thing you know, you food for the gods. Because they're extraterrestrials that eat people. Human
I
is
know
like
that.
chicken.
I
Humans is
know
chicken.
that.
Yeah, you like
I know
chicken.
that. Now
Hey,
that I know.
right. Yeah.
That I
So
know.
then,
And go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Because I came across a long time ago. I cannot even
Hmm.
find this, but it was an interview that was done
Right.
supposedly from a reptilian species that was talking about the difference between the species and how some of them have these markings on their ships. And if you were to encounter them, the disagreeable natures, that you would become food for them.
Oh
That
yeah. They
they would do that.
they they
So,
they they looking at your diet now. That's why they're giving you certain foods like cheese and pork. They want that in your blood because they love that. If you look in your Bible, they talk about how Cain gave an offering, and Cain and Abel gave an offering.
mhm,
Cain gave meat, and when the Lord and his two angels came to Abraham, Abraham ordered them to go get the calf. So when the Lord come, they come in human form. When these angels, we're in human form. They eat. They have a diet. And just like you have certain preferences. So when you
right.
season your food or you want your cows to have certain nutrients in it or whatever, you give them certain things. They do the same to us. So
Mm,
that you're gonna find out that they've been, you got some beings being abducted. I was on the road with a guy, a white dude, who was a trucker because I used to truck, and the dude was
right.
scared to go to sleep. He was scared to go to sleep because he was being abducted every night, but they were torturing him.
Oh my God.
So people seem to
Wow.
think that if you get in touch, if you line up with the extraterrestrials, you can get tortured. But they're not. That some our family is loving. They don't torture. They want to make contact with you, but you so afraid. You so ignorant. You so afraid that they won't mess with you because you'll kill yourself in your sleep.
And they
You
give a
know what I
certain
mean?
amount of anxiety too. Like
Yeah,
your
that's what I'm
body
saying. That's right. That's right.
will start to feel anxiety. Now, I know that from firsthand accounts,
That's right.
so I get it. Yeah, I get it. It
But
is
they're trying to prepare you. They trying to give you a little bit at a time so that you could get used to them. But if you constantly reject your family, then they're not, there's nothing they can do for you, because it's up to you to save yourself. And what our family deals with is intellect. You have to be able to deal with facts, no belief, no
right,
belief. You got to research, do your homework, study etymology, know the origins of these words. Don't say, I don't have time. If you don't have time to save yourself, that's on you. Because you know what?
right.
I mean, as much love as we have for human beings, we don't give a shit. If you don't want to say, if you don't take the time to save yourself, then why am I going to worry about you? That's how your ancestors said. They're like, yo, man, we love you. We done gave you all the tools that you need. You got the internet now. You can research anything.
Ooh.
We done sent Malachi. We done sent all these other teachers, and you ain't gonna take the time to find out. That's on you.
Oh, wow. I have to put this question up here because I just saw Mahalia put in there, could that account for all the missing children?
Yes, it could. Hey, let me share this.
Okay.
Extraterrestrials are
Okay.
in the form of human
Good
beings
question,
too.
Mahal.
They in the form of human. They're in the form of human beings. I'm an
Right.
extraterrestrial. Malachi's an extraterrestrial. You're extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial only means extra being from the astrals that are here on planet Terra. Because Terra was the name of this planet at one time. So it's just
Right.
an extra being here. That's why we the only ones with woolly hair. All the other species have straight hair. Asian, Mexican, white. They all got that flank hair. You're the only species with nappy hair. You're extraterrestrial. But that don't make you good. It don't make you bad either. It means that you're
Right.
gonna have to go inside and do some work on yourself. You're gonna have to do if
Right.
because you have a choice. You could gravitate toward the Ra or the Toe. The agreeable or the agreeable. It's up to you. It's up to you which one you want to line up with. So you got to make a choice. That's why they sent us to help you, to give you this information. I'm gonna give it to you so raw. I'm not your regular Nuwabian, because they're gonna just talk about the doctrine. I don't damn the doctrine. If you don't know who you are, if you don't find your conscious self, the doctrine ain't gonna mean shit. Because I know a lot of people that can talk, that can teach, but they don't know who they are. They can talk about who they are, but they don't know who they are. You know how I know? Because they hating on niggas like me. How you gonna hate? You hate me is to hate yourself. And they'll worship Malachi. They'll pull the red carpet out for him and then shit on me when I show up. How you gonna pull out the red carpet for him and then shit on your brother and sister?
Right.
You gotta give you
Right.
gotta give us the same reverence you give him. I'm gonna give you the same reverence that I give Malachi. I know he's the supreme grand hierophant because he got the most information. So whoever has the most information among us would be the most high among us. That's all it is.
Right.
It's
I
nothing
get it. I
spooky.
get what you're saying.
Right. Now,
I
when
get
you
what you're saying.
leave this earth, if you got to go outside this earth atmosphere, then the natural elements are going to change. So your structure is going to change. You're not going to look like the human beings here because we're dealing with oxygen, hydrogen. You're dealing with certain elements here that gives you, allows you to breathe in and give you the look that you're looking at now. But if you go somewhere else, and they're changing this environment. So you'll start seeing changes in people. They start morphing into something else. If you really pay attention, you'll see that you look at people's genes and look at their features, you'll see all kinds of shit. When I look at human beings,
Gotcha.
I see different species. I don't just
Me
see
too.
male, female,
Me
black,
too.
or white. I see the
Me too.
chimpanzee, I see the monkey, the chimpanzee, the gibbon, I see the dragonians, I see all that.
Me
And
too. I do too.
but you gotta wake up to it. That's why I don't know if you still kept that title, the resurrection. That's what this is about. This is about resurrecting your
Right.
mind. This is about altering your state of consciousness. And you do
Very
that
true.
because fear is gonna try to creep in and whisper to you, and no, I better just hold on to what I'm comfortable with. Well, the truth ain't comfortable because you've been lied to for all your life, even about who you are. So the truth, your awakening is not going to be comfortable. So get that out of your head. And for all of those who looking for some passive Jesus, forget about it. Jesus is a warrior. He's not coming passive. Forget about that. he he gonna kick your ass if he has to. He's not playing. Yes, he's
Hey,
not
at
coming
this
like
time,
that.
I want to give a shout out to the audience. We have some people in here. Dreadful Cosmon, thanks for coming through. Elijah 7, Bronze Yogi, Jawway, Prince Yahuda. We're going to keep going. Nazarene, thank you, Brother La. But I do want to open it up at this moment, I put the link in the chat. Does anybody have any questions? Because now's the time. Okay, you got somebody that's very, very knowledgeable about what's going on behind the scenes, and I'm telling you that there is a fight right now. Okay, so I'm just kind of preparing myself for the floodgates to come open because I'm watching the shift. Okay, I'm watching this new generation do this. Okay, so is there anybody that want to ask him any question or discourse with this brother right now? You can hit the link in there, ask your questions, bring up, any of your concerns or anything that you've read, and he'll be more than welcome to answer that for you. And until then, Hotep, what are we doing now? Okay, now that we know that we have this new generation of children that's coming through, how do you have any plans to incorporate them into assisting in this process, or what are you going to do
Oh,
with it?
that's happening on their own. That's happening all over the world. The children are making moves, man. We don't. Is no one person that got to gather them. None of that. They just doing the damn thing. People are
They are.
transforming. They're transforming. These are deities. These are supreme beings. These young people are supreme beings. They ain't waiting on you to tell them what to do, or me, or anybody else. They just doing the damn thing. So,
They are.
and you'll just see, you're witnessing the takeover. You're witnessing the, our time, the sun cycle coming in. This is the sun cycle where the moon cycle is over. This is the sun cycle. And the sun is the means of judgment. That's why you see right now all over the world, the sun is burning people up. It's burning people up. If you get on the news, it's burning them up. You're supposed to be out here like I am, raising your hands to Ra. Say, get closer, burn it up.
Right.
We the sun children. We are the sun people. If you're toxic though, you're gonna run from the sun. Whether it's your mind or your body or both, you'll run from the sun. You won't be like me sitting out in the blazing sun getting Ra's energy. Because I know that this is the power. That's why you're hearing the power right now, because I embrace the sun of righteousness.
Got you. Now, Dreadful Cosman wrote and said, is the brother we've been seeing on the internet looking like Malaki, his son that got him locked up?
Is the brother we've been seeing on the internet looking like which brother? There's a lot of brothers that look like Malaki. Malaki got a lot of clones out there. He got a lot of children. He had over 100 children. And you're talking about genetics. Like, you'll see your genes in others. Like, people say, I've seen you before. They say that to me all the time. I've been cloned 1,000 times. I'm the original. Hey, you'll see. We've been cloned, dog. This is a cloning thing. The whole Adam and Eve story, going in the rib, all that was about cloning. That was an experiment. That's a genetic engineering, which they're showing you now. That's why we was trying to tell Malaki was trying to tell people back in 1967 about the cloning, about everything that we're experiencing now, but everybody thought he was crazy. But he already put it on record. That shit is on record in the books, in writing, back in 1967. Of the cloning, the extraterrestrial, all of it.
How many books did this brother write?
Man, thousands. But they're not gonna they don't want to give him credit. But all you gotta do is do the research. When I got to him in '93, man, you know how many books I done read? You know what I mean? I've read so many, like I said, I don't even want to read a book no more.
Right.
But you transform into the word. Now the word becomes flesh. Now you open yourself up to the cosmos, and the word comes down through you.
Hey, thank you.
So it's not just yes. That's why we're in the line, because you open. You've allowed yourself to be a vessel of truth, of
Right.
justice, of the sun, of righteousness. So that now we're not moving of our own accord. That's why Jesus said, "I of my own accord can do nothing," because we
Right.
realize that we don't even control our breathing. You're not breathing by your own power. The universal intelligence is allowing that to take place. You can't
That's
control your death when you're dead unless you kill yourself, shoot yourself in the head and stuff. But this is universal intelligence that people are not even acknowledging. Some of the children that I've met were so stressed because they feel they got to do something to survive. I'm like, no, all you got to do is open yourself up and do what's necessary for now. I mean, set your goals, but return to the moment, embrace the moment, relax in the moment, and move in the moment, and let the
I don't
universe
think he
work
has
through
one,
you.
Dreadful.
Huh?
He wants Dreadful Cosmon said he needs a channel on this, brother. I don't think you have a channel. You don't teach openly like that, do you?
No, I don't. I only speak when necessary. And when my sister called me, that means it's necessary. Because if I try to do it on my own accord, it ain't gonna come out right. So, but when somebody asks me a question, you ask me a question, yeah, we going in. We going
Yes,
in.
let's do
Yeah,
that.
I
Say
have
King.
no power. I can't do it because the ego steps in when you try to do something. Some people
Right,
are successful at it. Me, I've totally surrendered. So I can't do nothing on my own. I have to wait until the universe come through somebody else to ask me a question or put me in an environment where, like here, where I'm at now, which I got to go at least in 30
yeah,
minutes because I'm at my father's senior citizen facility. Every time I come here, the elders is talking about how so many people are acting devilish. It's too much chaos. So it forced me to come here and speak today. I had to set something up where I can address it because nature says do it, not me. Not me. Oh, I need to do this and I need to get a lot of followers and I need to make some money. I can't focus
right,
on money. I can't do none of that.
right, right,
I just got to
right,
be open so that they could do whatever they want to do for me. But I'm
right.
thankful for those like my sister, our sister, who got platforms, and she's bred for that. She's bred to do her part. Everybody's here to do their part. Everybody's not supposed to be me. I'm not supposed to be you. Everybody's got to do their part. When you do your part and work with the collective, you see how it works in unison, in harmony.
Right,
This is the
right,
best. This is the
right.
best message platform that I've had, I think, since. And it's because the sister is open and she asking the proper questions that the universe want to make known.
And thank you, thank you, thank you. I do know that you have to go. You have already groomed me for that, and I know you have another speaking
At by
engagement.
2 o'clock. Yeah, I just gotta go by 2. So if you want 30 minutes, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for this brother here? Okay. When he's talking about, consciousness, when you live in the moment, people think something is wrong with you. This is just a comment that my brother Cosmon had put in there because apparently he's going through it too. When we're living, he says, when we live in a moment, people think something is wrong with you. You want to help him
Yes,
out with that?
yes. Well, you can't worry about what people think because they don't understand you. And
Right.
until they get here, they won't understand you, and they're going to perceive you to be what they think you are, and they want you to
That's
be.
right.
Everybody's trying to make God in their image and after their likeness. Everybody,
That's right.
until
Right.
you surrender yourself. That's what the whole crucifixion story was about: giving up yourself, surrendering, giving up yourself, and let the universe take control. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? But you have to sacrifice, you have to die before you die, as the scripture says. They talk about two different deaths, the first death and the second death. The first death will have no, I mean, the second death will have no power. Those who die the first death will become priests of the Most High. That's what it says. So but you got to be a willing sacrifice, meaning you have to sit still enough to realize who you are.
That's right.
And
That's right.
who you are is beyond your body. It's beyond your thoughts. It's beyond your emotions. And it's not hard. You just got to sit still enough and shift your attention to it. And that is always right now. So once you find it, you're grounded in the moment. Like people trying to ground and hug, doing whatever they got to do to ground themselves. You are grounded when you realize who you are. You don't have to
That's
do
true.
nothing. You just
That's
other than
true.
other than realize it, shift your attention to it. Like I'm
Right.
talking from that space. I'm recognizing this body, this vessel that's being used, but I'm talking from the space of nothingness. It has no shape. It's no space. It's not contained in any space. It has no shape. It has no gender. It's just the state of pure conscious you, conscious self, the conscious self, which is omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscience.
Mm.
You're all that and a bag of potato chips. You just got to let go and let God, as they say. I mean, I don't like using
Right.
the word God, because of all the, where the word come from, the German word good and all that.
Right.
But a lot of people like to get into the doctrine.
Right.
That's why when my son came to me and said, "Dad, should I get the information first or consciousness or meditate or master meditation?" I said, "Master meditation." You know what
Right.
Malachi told me? He called me one day, or he didn't call me. I just happened to be at the house he was calling. He was calling Tar Bodie, for those who don't know or
Okay.
think they know, right? Georgia Gossip. While Pa was in prison, when he first went to prison, I was a part of a group that he called The Other Side, right?
Okay.
We created a news media outlet in order to put the case out there, information about the case, and we wanted it to be free from people saying that we were biased because we were Nuwabians. So we
Right.
were an independent entity. So he told me on the phone one day, he said, "I raised a bunch of black devils."
Mm.
And when he
Okay.
said that, I didn't really understand what he meant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But now I do, because he was literally telling me to do something different, do a different. You know what I mean? So as I continued to, and that was in 2002. So from 2002, he told me that, and I'm watching my evolution. I'm watching what I focused on, which was spirituality. And so I tell people to focus on you first. Damn the information, because the
Yeah.
information could come. It'll come. You can get it. You can read a book. You'll find it. But if you don't meditate, if you don't find yourself, your real self, then you're just gonna be a bunch of information ego tripping.
Preach.
You're gonna
That's
think you're
true.
something special. And I've watched Nuwapians or Sabaeans, several of them think they become the Messiah. They think they Jesus. And you know why they think they Jesus? Because they literally become you will become a Jesus. But if you get stuck on start hearing quotes come out of your mouth, you'll start feeling the Son of God. You'll feel that Christ energy. So you'll start thinking you're
Yeah.
something unique and special. So, but if you ground it in yourself, then you realize that thought is bull. That's the devil trying to use that thought in order to puff you up so that you can go off on another path of wrongness, of this. You know what I mean? As soon as you conquer
Wrongness.
one thing, yeah, as soon as you conquer one thing, the devil got something else waiting on you, and he makes it appear to be good. Like, oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
doing good. You raising all these people. You got all these followers. You got
Yeah.
10,000 followers. Yeah, you leading all
Right.
them to hell. You leading them all them to hell.
Mm.
And you giving out some
Mm-hmm.
good information. But then you start feeling that power and you start ego tripping. Now you want the girls. You watch all of them, the polites and all them. All their trouble come from it, because I heard polite say, "I'm gonna get the money first and then work on my spirituality." I was like, "That's wrong. You don't get the money first. You work. If you want to do
Wow.
it, you do it at the same time. If you do it, you better do it at the same time. Because if you get the money
Right.
first, the money is the trap. It can afford you to get everything you want.
Right.
The women, all the food, you
Right.
go to fancy places. It's a distraction. So if you get the spirituality
Right.
first, by the time you get the money, you know how to use the money.
That's right.
I
That's right.
watched when he said it. I knew he was off. And now, 10 years later, look what's going on. I hope he finds his way back, because he's
Me too.
brilliant. He's a brilliant being. He just got caught up in the lust of life. He got caught up in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's the
A lot of
trap.
us do.
Luster,
A lot of us do. A
lust
lot of us
is
do.
the
It's
trap,
very
man.
common.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of us. Yep. I know I
Yeah.
did. That's why I could
Right.
talk about it, because I've experienced it all. I'm not saying
Right.
I'm not no different than nobody else. Malachi was no different than nobody else. He went to
Right.
school. He learned. He rose in his divinity. He was raised, just like we're being raised. We're
And that's
being
the one
raised in our
thing.
divinity. Yeah.
That's the one thing that I will say that I've always appreciated I can tell when somebody is on that master teacher, ascended master track, because they're going to do their own discovery. They're going to
That's right.
infiltrate all of these systems, all of this history. They're not going to be, trapped in the box. They're going to experience it in the universe. So when I saw all of these different areas that he placed himself in just to learn, to me, that's
Yes.
impressive because, like you said earlier,
Very.
most of us are late. We'll
We're
get
lazy.
we'll get a book,
Yeah.
one book,
That's
and if
right.
that book has enough information, that's it. We're not going to expand anymore.
That's
But
right.
beings like ourselves, we have no other choice but do that. It's a call.
That's
It's a
right.
it's a force, to
That's
have to
right.
go into these religious systems, to have to understand this etymology, to break
Yes.
down the symbolism, to understand these things,
That's right.
because we're actually striving to be that better version of ourselves. So he'll
That's right.
always have my respect in that
Yes.
respect, right? And
Nice. Nice.
I'm just waiting to see how this all plays out, because we are in the time of that great revealing. I
Yes.
personally would like to see this work out beautifully for everybody involved, especially for those who are waiting. And if he has the ability, and we're hoping so, and it might be just you, it might be the next generation that does this, but if we get out of alignment with the core teachings of what he taught, and now it starts getting dispensed all over the place, watered down, perverted, flipped, twisted, this, that, and the third, we are going to need some beings to come back with the original truth and straighten this out, right?
Yes, the sun is raising it. The universe is raising it. It's being they choose it. This is a galactic thing. This is a universal thing. This is a etheric thing. So though, like Malachi, he was selected by all. So
Right,
all of this, all of us, Malachi don't have to tell you or point you, even though he does appoint. But all is going to appoint the
right,
one who they want the people to hear. You know what I mean?
right,
Or the group of people that they want to the people to hear, which is all of us who raise ourselves up to a certain level through discipline. It's
yes,
through discipline. The word disciple is discipline. It's discipline. You have to discipline yourself, and it's hard to discipline yourself because we're so used to so much negative stuff. We so
right,
used to so much stuff. The wrong food, the wrong drink. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And it ain't gonna happen all at one time. You gotta slowly wean yourself off of some of that devishment.
right,
But we
yeah,
don't have time no more because now is the time. Now, because we are conscious that now is the time, we realize that there is no time.
right. There
There
you go.
is no time. So now is the time for all y'all listening. Now is the time. Don't sit there waiting on tomorrow. You better start today, right now. I'm literally, because nature. You see what's happening. It was hailing in Italy, golf balls.
Right,
The sun is
yeah,
burning up whole states. It was 100. It was 147 degrees in Iran.
mm,
It was
wow,
107 degrees in Texas.
right,
What if
yeah,
they cut the? What if it stops raining? What them fires? All of that. Them fumes that's flying through the air, suffocating people. The diseases, COVID, and the other ones that's coming. I mean, it's so much happening. You don't have no more time. You better
right,
be prepared to transform
that's
into a
right,
greater light. Some people call that death. Your destination is death. But your
mm,
understanding of death could put you in a state of fear. But you
right,
are heading towards death. You better prepare yourself for the transformation. Because the elders who coming from different star constellations, they're not looking at your body. They're looking
right,
at your light. They're looking at your light. Did you raise your light? Because they're not putting you on no crafts or nothing in your establishment.
that's right,
You're not coming to their world with your establishment. That's not happening. It's not happening, dog. And they're not emotional. Like people say, I'm unemotional. I know because I'm like my etheric parents.
right,
We're not gonna cry over that shit. You had enough time.
right,
They love all. So it's not loving just you. Everybody want to be God's special child. You're not
right,
special. Get it together. It's a collective thing. It's a group thing. It's a we thing. It's not about you. I'm
Mm.
sorry. It's not about you.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much
Oh,
for
it's a
taking
pleasure.
time out on
It's
in
a pleasure.
your very busy schedule to address some of these things, you know, and
Mhm.
to give us your firsthand knowledge, you know,
Mhm.
of what was going on. And you know, you got a couple of minutes if anybody want to ask a question, but it doesn't seem like too many people, you know, are questioning what you're saying, and I'm a little bit shocked at that. You know, I am, but
Not me. Not me,
yeah,
because it's too
nothing.
wrong. It's too wrong. Yeah, what you going to debate? What you going to debate? It's nothing to debate. It's nothing to debate. And Baba told us that. Malachi said we're going to come into the time where there's no more debates, no more discussions, no more nothing. You got to
Right.
enter into silence. That's what Nuwapu was all about, entering into silence.
Okay,
But,
I got
you
you.
know, so the information was just to point you in that direction.
Right. Okay.
Now you got to go inside and you got to find yourself and sit still and feel the peace and the joy and the omnipotent, and you know you have to embrace it because it's
Thank you,
peaceful,
sister.
man. It's very peaceful. It's very peaceful.
You see, the sister says she liked what you were saying. Okay, you
Blessings,
got it.
sisters. We
That's a
appreciate
sister.
you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Yes,
All
yes.
right.
So one more
Well,
thing,
like I said, I want to thank you.
I
Go ahead.
wanted to just say one more thing, just for those who, you know, still prescribe to the scriptures. As Jesus said, or Isa, or Yahshua, he said, "Ye are gods. All of you are children of the Most High, and you are. You
Yep.
really are. You, but being God doesn't make you good. You gods are good and evil. You know what I mean? So you
Agreeable,
have to
disagreeable.
choose."
Yeah.
Agreeable and disagreeable. Or, yes, we're Tob and Ra. You're right. So, and we're talking about positive and negative. So you have to choose which one
Right.
you want to side with. That's all. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you all. Hmm.
Thank you so much. And we're going to let this brother go. And I'm going to leave as well. And I want to thank my audience for tuning in, you know. And I am Sophie. This is Brother Hotep, and I am Sophie. And I love you all. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Peace. Peace.